Trading is a major part of sports. After all, it can be one of the most beneficial actions for a team to improve itself. Sadly, it doesn't always work out that way. On this list, we will look at some of the most lopsided trades in NHL history. As this will be a multi-part series, we will begin in more recent history, and we'll make our way back in upcoming videos. As always, if you'd like to add to anything, let us know in the comments down below, and subscribe to stay up to date. Number 6. Mike Ribeiro to Dallas. On September 30th, 2006, the Montreal Canadiens traded the young, promising forward Mike Ribeiro and his 6th-round pick to the Dallas Stars in exchange for Finnish defenseman Jan Niinimaa and a 5th-round pick. Mike Ribeiro would go on to play 6 seasons for the Stars, scoring over 400 points for them, as well as making an All-Star appearance in 2008, which is far more than Niinimaa accomplished for the Habs. The Finn would go on to play in 41 games, scoring 0 goals and only 3 assists before heading to the Swiss League. Unfortunately, the draft pick never panned out either, so whether it was an attitude problem that forced Ribeiro out of Quebec or something else, they clearly were ripped off in this deal. Number 7. Tuukka Rask to Boston. Every Toronto Maple Leafs fan will remember this deal, and I'm sure Bruins fans will as well. On June 24, 2006, Toronto traded the rights to the unsigned, untested goaltender Tuukka Rask in exchange for the young, promising Andrew Raycroft. Raycroft had been named the Rookie of the Year in 2004 and was considered to be one of the best goaltending prospects in the league, despite a shaky last season. On the other end, Toronto was suffering from a logjam of goaltending prospects, and ultimately it came down to the Canadian Justin Pogge and the European Tuukka Rask. Of course, they went with Justin Pogge. Who? Exactly. As a Maple Leaf, Raycroft struggled, as his prior season hinted towards, but for whatever reason, those struggles slipped off the Leafs' radar when they acquired him. As a Bruin, Rask would go on to win a Stanley Cup as well as a Vezina Trophy. To really hammer home this point, this past season, Tuukka Rask played in the NHL All-Star Game, while Andrew Raycroft was the volunteer goalie coach at the University of Connecticut. Looking back on it, this trade pretty accurately foreshadows the painful decade that was to come for Toronto. Number 8. Patrick Sharp to Chicago. On December 5, 2005, the Chicago Blackhawks added one of the first significant players that would help lead the team to their eventual dynasty. They acquired Patrick Sharp and Eric Milosh from the Philadelphia Flyers in return for Matt Ellison and a 3rd-round draft pick. As you've probably already evaluated for yourself, Ellison as well as Milosh would have virtually no impact for either team. However, Patrick Sharp, now that's a different story. Sharp would go on to play parts of 10 seasons in Chicago, winning 3 Stanley Cups and being major contributors to all of them. Whatever it was that made the Flyers give up on the then 23-year-old Sharp, I'm sure they regret it now, especially after losing to him in the 2010 Stanley Cup Final. Number 9. Chris Pronger to Edmonton. On August 2, 2005, the Edmonton Oilers acquired Chris Pronger from the St. Louis Blues in exchange for Eric Brewer, Doug Lynch, and Jeff Waywitka. It is important to note that he was originally traded from St. Louis due to salary cap problems coming out of the lockout, but they still should have gotten a better return. Chris Pronger would go on to play in only 1 season in Edmonton, scoring 56 points in the regular season, as well as 21 points in the playoffs during their run to the Stanley Cup Final. That offseason, however, the tides changed. Pronger requested a trade from Edmonton. The official reason is that his wife was not happy in Edmonton. However, the rumor has been that Pronger was having an affair with an Edmonton beat reporter and later got her pregnant. Regardless, Edmonton was still able to trade Pronger for a king's ransom, probably what St. Louis should have demanded in the first place. On the flip side, Doug Lynch and Jeff Waywitka both never truly broke into the league and ended up playing in Europe. Eric Brewer, however, did have an impact. Brewer endured a nearly 15-year NHL career, amassing over 1,000 games played, and he even spent 3 seasons as the Blues captain. However, he still was not a Chris Pronger type. Number 10. Danny Briere to Buffalo. On March 10, 2003, the Buffalo Sabres traded Chris Gratton and a 4th-round pick to Arizona for the scoring forward Daniel Briere and a 3rd-round pick. While in Buffalo, Briere would emerge as a bona fide NHL superstar. He scored over 200 points during his stay in Buffalo, including a 95-point season in 2006-2007, which eventually led to him becoming the league's highest-paid player the next year. In addition to Briere, the 3rd-round pick turned out to be Andre Sekera. Gratton played half a season in Phoenix, scoring sparely, and that 4th-round pick didn't pan out either, so Phoenix got absolutely fleeced in this deal, and I'm not sure why they were so willing to move a young, promising player so fast. So which tray do you think was the most lopsided? Which tray should be in the next edition? Comment all of these things down below and subscribe for more content.